Hello everybody, this is Dragon Quest Builders. I am Curtis from PSNStores.com. So I have imported this game. This game came out right around a week ago, this time last week, the time I'm recording, which is Wednesday night. So it was right around a week ago this game actually came out. So I went and bought a Japanese PSN card, loaded it up on my Japanese PSN account, and here we are. So just a bit of warning here, I don't understand, I don't read kanji or I don't understand a lot of the stuff going on. However, I think the language barrier is low enough that's actually not a big deal. Especially if you've played Minecraft or any game like it. If you've played any, Don't Starve, Minecraft, Terraria, anything of that kind of style of game, if you've played that before, that's going to be a tremendous help. So, I think if you're looking at this, I wanted to make this video, one, just for people who maybe haven't imported it and are hoping for a localization and are going to wait, in hopes that happens. And I hope it does too. I think there's a decent chance it will. But if you are waiting and you're curious about it, I wanted to do a video on it. But also, if you're kind of on the fence of I kind of want to import it, but I don't know if the language barrier is going to be too much for me. I don't know, you don't know what to expect from it. I wanted to also make this video to kind of maybe help you figure out if that's going to be a big deal or not. That was really funny. So this is my first town. The game is split up into chapters. I believe there's 4 chapters. I'm getting close to the end of chapter 2 right now. And so basically what happens, and you start out in a little cave. They do a little mini tutorial. You come out and you find this town. Now this town is built up. I have finished chapter 1 now. But this town is basically destroyed. There was the remnants of this building, this room right here, remain. And actually, this girl in the red, she's still around, and she basically is like, hey, I don't know exactly what she says, but it's something to the effect of hey, everything's destroyed, we need you to help rebuild everything. And so your goal is to go out into the world and rebuild. And so you just kind of leave your town. There's some of my protection right here. But you leave your town and then you try to, you start scavenging and finding resources. You can break down these little twigs. You get some food here. You can take down these trees to get some wood. Some other things. You can start destroying this dirt. And as you see, I've already got quite a bit of material here. But I did want to show basically what my first town looks like. I finished chapter 1. It's kind of hastily thrown together. But what you'll see here, specifically, so if we go into, let's say this one right here. So we've got a couch here, we got a cool little doll that I made, one of the enemies. We've got a fireplace, a mirror, we got some pots, a chest back there. Basically, the way this game is set up is that when you build a house or a room, there are certain qualifiers that it needs. There are certain things that you need to have in that room for it to count. So you see right here, here is 2 beds and then a torch. And that's going to be 100 points. 2 kind of nicer beds and a torch is 250 points. If we scroll down, right here, we've got a sign, we've got a pot, we've got a bed and a torch, that's 200 points. So there's a lot of different variety to the type of rooms you can make. But also, you can do kind of whatever you want as well. This is something that I just kind of did whatever. As long as you meet a basic requirement, which is, I think for this room was basically hey, I have a torch and a door, and it's an enclosed space. And that's kind of all I needed. And then I can start decorating. Now this first town here, I really just kind of threw a lot of things together. It was okay, I want to max out my camp level, and the only way to do that is to start putting things in rooms and start getting points for those things. So some of these rooms started out pretty nice and neat and tidy. Then as I got closer to the max level 5, it was I'm just going to start throwing a bunch of things in here. So this is, and then you also have templates. So some of these are actually, most of these are actually from templates that I got. So if we go over to here, I believe, here is basically templates. So you see on the left side, this kind of what it looks like, the finished product. And it's going to show you exactly how many of each type of resource that you need. So it's 78 of those blocks, 1 door, 2 torches, 2 of those flame-breathing gargoyles, 24 spikes, right? So you have that. We can also go into the menu. So here's a really handy feature. Basically, if we go over here, you can build chests to store your items in, but you can have one large chests per town. So if we open up this chest, this kind of opens up our main inventory. So once you get this, if you're out exploring and gathering resources, and you max out the inventory you can have in your bag, everything that you get will automatically be sent to the large treasure chest, and you have 2 full pages to work with. The third page is for your equipment, your hammers, your swords, your whatever, right? That's for equipment stuff. But you have 2 full pages here, which basically can store almost everything that you're going to need, right? And I have like tons of stuff. Like, this is way too much. 553 of this type of block. Like, I don't need that much, but I have it anyways, right? But that's super, super convenient, especially for a game like this that you're going to be going out and exploring and finding all sorts of different things, right? It's something that's super nice to have. So, you just saw I went through a portal. So as you're progressing through chapters, you're going to find that you're going to be getting these portals. Basically, throughout different points in the chapter, a couple waves of monsters are going to try to invade your town, and so it'll be up to you and some of the other townspeople to kind of defend the village, and that's why you want to kind of set up some good defenses for your camp. And then we can go out to the field with those warp points, and that will bring us to different parts of the continent, basically. And then that will allow us to find different types of resources. So I can go over here with my hammer. I can dig out this stuff here. So I got some of that. You'll find some caves. So I think the biggest question I've seen from people who haven't imported this yet is it's a lot of like, okay, if you've played Minecraft, you know that the areas are randomly generated, right? You get seeds, and those seeds are going to generate a different kind of world for you each time. But you're also going to, like, as you're exploring, you're going to find caves and, like, crazy, like, huge tunnel systems that go deep, deep, deep underground. This doesn't have the extent of that. Like, there is this cave here. But as you see, it doesn't go too deep. It goes kind of straight and maybe branches off a few times. And there are some caves here that actually do go pretty deep, and they'll branch off like 3 or 4 or 5 times. But typically they're not going up or down. Actually, if I started, let's see, we'll do it close to the door here. If I started digging downwards, and I can even like kind of hold in and do a larger attack. If I started digging downwards, you can't dig that far down, basically. It's about, yeah, I think we might have reached. Or no, I just can't hit those. Basically, at some point, pretty soon, yeah, right here. So this is about as far down as you can dig. Now, that's probably going to be that could be dependent on a couple of things. It could be that the hammer type I have right now actually isn't strong enough to break that. So far, I haven't found a hammer that has been able to break it. That could be the case. Or it could be that you just can't dig that far, which I think is probably the case. Which could be a little disappointing. I guess it's not hasn't really been a big deal for me yet. The world itself has still been plenty large to go out and find things. But we're gonna go ahead and actually jump to chapter 2, which is where I'm at, because I would like to show a lot of this. Just a lot of the different areas and types of places you can expect to explore here. So you notice, actually really quick, I have a silver medal. So when you complete each chapter, it's going to give you like a little log of different things that you've accomplished. And there's actually challenges. So the first chapter, one of the challenges, I think, is completing it in 20 days. There's a day-night cycle. I believe a full day lasts about 14 minutes. So my first time through was about 44 days. Which equates to right around, I think it's right around 10 hours, if I did the math correctly. It's something like that. So, and then I think another one of the challenges was like killing the 3 dragons that you can find. There's another one for maxing out your camp level. So there's like 4 or 5 challenges for each of these chapters. And that kind of gives you a little bit more replay value, because you're almost assuredly not going to complete every challenge your first way through. So this is my second camp here. This is chapter 2. Let's see if I can make some food, because my guy right now is starving. So this camp I put a little bit more thought into, and organizing it and making it look pretty nice. Let's go ahead and make We'll make some fish. We got actually quite a bit of resources there. So each chapter kind of follows a little bit of a different plot. From what I get of the gist of it, there is a story here. I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say it's massively important. Like I certainly don't have a full grasp of everything going on for obvious reasons with the language barrier. But I feel like just from doing things and going out and completing pretty simple quests, I have a general idea of what's happening. It's about to reach nightfall, so we're gonna sleep. Basically, at nighttime, some enemies will come out. Actually, you can kind of see it right there on the other side of the wall. These little, like, witch-looking enemies will come out. And I just don't want to deal with them, to be completely honest. So anyways, there's a story. It doesn't seem to be super complicated. It seems pretty basic of like, hey, the world is in ruins. We need you to help. And so you're going town to town to help people build up the camp, build up their town, their village again. So this one is actually based around, if we look out, you can see this is all like this swampy kind of poisonous area outside the camp. And so this whole chapter has been based around bringing, like, setting up this little, we'll call it like a hospital basically, and bringing people back. This nurse was here at first, and she has recently fallen sick. So I need to get that specific item. It looks like a vial of some kind of liquid, like a potion. And I believe it's something I can craft, but I specifically need a certain item. So if we go over here, there's a number of different crafting tables. You can get stuff for food, like you just saw, stuff for making potions and antidote, things for making outfits, things for making different types of weapons and gear. So you see, this is what I need for her, and I actually need 5 of those flowers. And what's cool here is I have a little farm here actually, and if I break these open, oh, that's gonna give me plenty. Great. So basically, there was with this flower, I found one. It was a very, very rare flower, and I brought it back, and it's like, hey, you can use that flower to actually craft this item. And that's an item that I was able to plant, and I made 2 of them with 1 flower, but those 2, once they were fully grown, they just gave me 5 each of the flower I needed. So now I can make this potion that she needs. And hopefully that'll help her get her well on the way to the route of recovery for her. Because she's been kind of there helping out everyone so far. And the other thing that's great about this big inventory system is you don't need to go back to the chest to switch things out. You see, I'm already actually maxed out of some stuff. So we're gonna switch. Let's see if we can find... Here it is. So we're gonna switch it with this egg. But yeah, you can actually be just out in the middle of nowhere, and you can be fiddling around with the inventory in that big chest, which is just super convenient. It's a really good, like, just quality of life kind of UI thing that they have going on that is super, super nice. I really like that about this game. So what you'll see here is sometimes people they'll require like 2 or 3 things to help them heal. In her case, it actually filled up the entire bar. And typically she's going to need to sleep for maybe another night until she's fully recovered. But as you see, there's actually quite a few other people in my town that I've brought back and saved. And this is kind of what my town's looking like for Chapter 2. I've got this little area that she had me build here to help her get water. And there's actually a cool little water block right here. So as long as that block is there, that is what's supplying me with this clean water. So like you could potentially make your own little rivers that like run through town with a block like this. Potentially, which I think is really cool. Let's see. This is what you can use to craft different gear and outfits. Another thing that I would like to show, and I believe I can... I don't know if I have any right now on me, but I think I can craft them. No, but I should be able to craft it. Okay. So, if I go down here to... Oh, I only have 1 of those. That's okay, I can make more. So you notice a lot of my houses have the same walls and everything, except for that 1 room that we were just in. So what you'll typically do is you're gonna start out with a lot of dirt. You're gonna start out with dirt, and it's gonna look ugly when you're building stuff. But as you play through, you're gonna get maybe nicer looking like wood. You're gonna get concrete. Like you're gonna get types of material that would look a lot better than just here's some dirt. So when you do that, you can actually create... let's see if I can find it. Sometimes it can be kind of difficult to... Here we go, it's up in the corner. You can create these little blocks where it's like 3 of them. And so what we'll do, we'll switch this out with something. And so what that does is it's kind of like a paint bucket tool, actually. If I walk up to this wall and I hit triangle, it's going to automatically change a lot of, like, their surrounding area to that new type. So it kind of matches up with everything else. That's actually what I'm planning to do with my outside wall, is when I get a really, like, solid material that'll stop monsters from breaking through my dirt wall. That's what I'm going to do, basically. So I'll have stronger defenses. So we can go around and just very quickly, just very, very easy, very quick, I can switch everything back out. Again, there's a lot of things in this game that are just super, super convenient. They allow you to do things very, very quick. And so with that, we're actually going to go and start exploring. Let's go here first. I think we'll spend most of the rest of this video kind of in chapter 2. So we go out here, and this is kind of more of your grasslands. You got a little lake there, you got the ocean over here. Actually, we can bring out a fishing rod, which I believe... It's kind of the one thing about this, is it can be kind of hard, even though it's only pictures. Sometimes it's easy to kind of lose where things are. And actually, you know what? We're not going to go fishing, because I believe my fishing rod is back in another treasure chest, now that I've started running out of room. This is another thing, is like, even though that big chest does give you a ton of room, once you get towards the end of the chapter, it would be nice to be able to have a second one in your town. Although granted, I'm sure there's a lot of things I could just toss, I just don't want to. But here's what you're looking at. So you've got a lot of your typical Dragon Quest enemies. If you've played Dragon Quest before, a lot of these, like the slimes, a lot of these enemies you're going to recognize. It's actually something I really like about this. It's a number of things. I love Minecraft. I think Minecraft is super, super cool. It's not something I play a lot, but I think it's one of those things where it's like, if I was older and if I was like a parent and I was much older, Minecraft would be like the game. It was like, if like anytime like my younger cousins or anything is like, their parents are like, all they do is play Minecraft. And I just sit there, I'm like, yeah, but that's like okay. Because like Minecraft is a kind of game that I think that's fine. Like that is just so much about like getting your creative juices flowing and just fueling imagination like at every corner, right? And I think that's awesome. And Minecraft is just really, really fun anyways. But man, if you take Minecraft, something I already really like, and then you add Dragon Quest, like probably one of my favorite JRPG franchises just in general, and you've got a recipe for some good times, for some really jolly good times. So you'll sometimes find like places like this that are just abandoned. Kind of gives you a good idea of like things that you could build too, like as far as interior stuff is concerned. This place specifically, I've already gone through and kind of broken down and taken a lot of stuff, but it's cool nonetheless. So you've got that. Let's see if we can find anything in particular. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out if I have any more. I don't know that I do, actually. I do not. A lot of the items also, I'll say, like, again, if you play Dragon Quest, there are certainly items here that you're going to recognize. There's an item that lets you teleport back to town, which is very much an item that has been in Dragon Quest games. A lot of them. Actually, if I switch to hammer, that'll be a little faster. We'll go ahead and start building a little wall here. But anyways, yeah, like it's that type of thing that if you've played Minecraft or Dragon Quest, there's a lot of things here you're going to recognize regardless of the language barrier. And I think that's a key role in making this much more accessible. It's already pretty accessible. It's not like there's a lot of text here, And for the quest, basically what it boils down to is they'll ask you to do something, and typically the task that they ask of you is very simple. Typically it's not hard. Usually it's like, hey, you need to find 3 of this thing, and you'll need it to build or craft something. And actually, typically it kind of works as a tutorial. It doesn't quite feel like one, but it kind of works as setting the game up and teaching you, this is how you're gonna do things. This is how you need to make a house. This is how buildings work. You know, in order for a building to count and get points for your camp level, it's going to require certain things inside of it. And it kind of teaches and walks you through that. And I think it does it really well, because it doesn't feel super hand-holdy. But that's kind of how they approach that. And a lot of times when you're talking to someone and they give you that quest, it's going to be accompanied with, where's she going to go to the other one? Accompanied with, like, little icons, little images of the specific material that you need or whatever you need to craft. So if they're asking you to go find some flowers, and you'll use those flowers to craft a medicine or something, it's going to show you a picture of those flowers. It might have, like, the number 3 next to it to represent that you need 3 of them. And then it might have a picture of a potion or an antidote. And so it's very easy to kind of use those context clues and piece together, okay, clearly this is what I need to do, right? Let's take my sword out. So I actually got a sword recently that does like a bit of a double hit, which is really, really nice. There we go. So once it turns, there's, yeah, day-night cycles here. Basically, like I said, at night, these little, like, witch enemies will show up and start chasing after you. They can be a little annoying after a while. I think you definitely reach a point where, like, especially when you're building up your village or your camp, you reach a point where you want to be focused in on that. And then, like, nighttime comes, and it's just like, I don't want to deal with you guys. Because they'll find a way inside your camp, even with the barriers. Unless you have, like, super high wall barriers or something. They'll find a way. But this, again, much like your Terrarias, your Minecrafts, your Don't Starves, any, like, you know, 20 other some mod games like it, it very much kind of digs in, and it'll wrap its claws around you in very much the same way, where it's like, it's hard to put down. Once you start playing, it's like, oh, I'll do one more run. I'll go and get like 3 or 4 more of these little materials that I need. And then 2 hours later, it's like, oh, I'm still playing this game, aren't I? So there is, this game definitely has more of a direction to it. Again, I you know, I haven't really done much like questing or anything, just because I kind of want to run around and kind of show what's going on here. But there is, like, whereas Minecraft or something like it might set you down and it'll say, hey, here's this world, go kind of do whatever. You can do whatever you want, we don't care. This is very much a type of game where it's like, okay, we want you to do a specific thing, right? Like, there is a story here, there is quest lines here, there are characters that you are meeting, and that's important, right? Like, there is much more of a goal here in mind for you, something for you to accomplish, other than just go out and do whatever you want. And there is a bit of that. You can kind of go about your own way and kind of do whatever you want. You can build up the camp however you want. But there is more of a purpose, more of a goal here. And here's we'll let it hit day here so you can kind of see what this area looks like. Again, so far, I'm close to finish with Chapter 2. And there's been a lot of variety in the areas I've been to. I've been to a desert, I've been to, like, kind of grasslands, I've been to, like, a swampy area. I've been to, like, the poisonous kind of looking area. I've been to, like this place itself, like, it's pretty different. The desert area I went to had a, like, whole pyramid with its own, like, series of tunnels, and that brought me to a huge room with the flame-breathing gargoyles. And when I took those gargoyles, like, a bunch of enemies popped up that were really strong as, like, an ambush. Some really interesting stuff. Like, you'll find little mini-bosses throughout the map, like some dragons and other really tough enemies that you can fight. Like, there's this little castle here. And I found this a few days ago, and there was this big enemy. And I was able to, after fighting him, it unlocked the chest up here, which gave me a cool item. So there's a lot of stuff to discover. It is much more than just, hey, go gather this material and build. I think it's easy. Obviously, the Minecraft comparison is very easy. But as far as the main game's concerned, going through the story, there's a lot here that sets it apart. There's a lot here that really makes this feel more than just Minecraft with a Dragon Quest skin. It is one of those kinds of games, but the Dragon Quest part of it is also very prevalent, and that is amazing. I am so happy with how this has turned out, but we're not quite done yet. There is one last thing I do want to show, and we're gonna go ahead and I need to actually head back to town so I can save. So there is one more thing I want to show, and that is the game's free play mode. So this is it's a very interesting mode, and we'll talk more about it when we get there. But basically, aside from the story, there's also a mode you can hop in. You can basically build to your own imagination. You can do whatever you want. There's no like quest lines or anything going on. But instead, you were just kind of given free reign over the island or the continent that you're on. There aren't even monsters showing up, actually, which is really interesting. We're actually just gonna go ahead and jump out. I'm okay with having that saved. I didn't really do much other than craft that potion. So we're gonna hop into creative. Let's see if I'll load my file here. I haven't really done a whole lot. Specifically because the way this works is that any recipes, any crafting things that you've unlocked in the main game, you have access here. So I'm actually waiting until I finish the main story. That way I have most of the stuff unlocked. But you start out here, and this flag basically is your save point. But, okay, so this is where things get really interesting. This block of land right here, see I walk in, it kind of gets highlighted. I am free to build whatever I want here, and anything I'm building here I can actually share with other players. So if I build a house, like someone else might actually see that house that I've built, and they can walk inside it and they can see how I've crafted things and how I've designed my house, right? Or I can build whatever I really want. But if we go over here, you can kind of start to see there's some other creations, and these other buildings over here are actually being loaded in from other players' worlds. So these things that we're going to walk up to and explore a little bit, these are other players' creations, and they're kind of seamlessly loaded into your world when you hop in. And I think they're actually like replaced after a certain period of time. I'm not entirely sure. But you see this person built like a little castle here, so we can walk in. If we tap R3, it kind of gives a closer camera angle. The camera indoors isn't the best. It could be better. It would be nice to have like an actual dedicated first-person camera view for going indoors, but nonetheless, this is really cool just to see like, okay, this is how this person is setting up their buildings, right? I think a lot of the, beyond just like playing Minecraft as a survival mode game, or we termed these games as run-arounders, games where you run around and just do whatever. But I think a lot of the draw to them is being able to share pictures, share videos of things you've created. So I think just the idea of like, hey, here's this mode that we're just gonna seamlessly load in a bunch of different players' creations. I think that's awesome. That is super, super cool. The idea that I'm gonna be able to like see all these new different creations all the time. Now see, this one's very basic. This person hasn't done a whole lot. But if we look over here, look at this. So they've got quite a bit going on here. We can walk inside. Like, this is great. I love this. I love that this is here. This is something that we can go into and see. And it's like, yeah, this is like, this person has actually done a lot of stuff here, and there's some interesting stuff they've got going on. So we can go up all the way to the top, see what's going on up here. Oh, look at that chair. That throne. That's awesome. So, basically the gist of this mode is that on this main island there are no monsters. So you can go around, and you can freely kind of get resources and do whatever you'd like. Now, there are resources and materials you can only get from monster drops. So you can then go to these teleporters right here, and those will take you to different areas. Now, from my understanding, we'll go ahead and teleport back to our home area. Each teleporter, from my understanding, is representative of each chapter, so you unlock them as you're completing chapters. So the one that we were just near, I actually can't use yet, because I've only actually finished chapter 1 so far. But this one is representative of chapter 1. And what that will do is that'll take you to an island, a very big island that's all connected. Or continent, I guess, maybe the better word. It's all connected, and that'll take you through the handful of different biomes that you'll find in chapter 1. And I assume that'll probably be the same case for the other portals that will take you to chapter 2's areas, chapter 3's areas, and so on. And so here we go. This is kind of what you would expect to see, like biome-wise, for chapter 1. And the further we progress, we'll get into the other areas as well. And so now we can go around, and now we can kill enemies. So now we can get the slime material that the slimes drop, and things like that. And then if we don't really feel like dealing with enemies, we can always go back. There we go. So that's a look at Dragon Quest Builders. I plan on doing more videos for this. I'm not going to review this version. I'm gonna write up something. I'm gonna write up something about it. Maybe some impressions for the import. But because I don't have like a full understanding of the language, I don't feel comfortable doing a full like scored review. But I am going to be doing a lot more coverage of this. I'm probably going to be doing more videos. Actually, probably once I get into this mode heavier and start building more things, I'll probably do more videos like that, just to show off some of the things that you can make. Here's the thing that you can make like colored blocks. Like I saw someone actually make like a big like pixelated slime over there a few days ago. But anyways, yeah, like I'm planning on doing a lot more videos of this, but I wanted to get this out as a general overview of what you can expect from this game. So here are the two questions I feel like are probably I see a lot, at least since I've been playing, I've been streaming, I've seen some questions, and also like NeoGaf has a really great import thread that we have some people in there talking. I haven't really posted in there, but I've been reading a lot of the posts, and people have been sharing some pretty cool stuff. So the two questions, and I kind of alluded to them earlier. One, is this import friendly? Is this something that I've been having trouble, even though I don't know the language? Have I been having trouble with this game progressing? The answer to that is basically no. There have been 2 to 3 times where I've been on a quest that maybe they didn't have the little icon to represent whatever I needed to craft, or maybe there was something to it. There was something specifically they wanted, like maybe they wanted me to craft, I don't know, a bed, but they wanted me to put the bed in a very specific room and not just any room. So sometimes that has been a little troublesome, like where it's very nitpicky about what it wants me to do. And I'm sure it's obvious if you know the language, but if you don't, then it can be a little hard to kind of figure out what's going on. There's been about 2 to 3 times where that has given me trouble. But typically, I actually just would use, if you take you can download the Google Translate app, and if you just take a picture of the text of like what the quest giver is giving to you at that moment, if you take a picture of that, even though when it translates it, it's not really going to make a lot of sense. But if you see the 2 to 3 keywords that you need, it's pretty easy to piece together. So that has bailed me out. But other than that, this has been very simple. It's been a very simple process of playing through this game. I am in love with this game. It is incredible. It's pretty much everything I wanted this game to be. There's a couple little things, about 3 or 4 things that I would like to be different, but they're pretty minor things on the whole. I'm super, super into it. I imagine that I'm going to be getting a whole lot of time out of this game. And the second question I imagine will also pop up is whether or not this is ever going to come out overseas, if this is going to get localized. If I had to guess, I would say yes. Like, if I was a betting man, I think it will. Specifically, at least the PS4 version. I think the PS4 version's a safe bet. Dragon Quest Heroes was brought over, and I know that game did not sell well, but I think it being on PS4 helps its chances by a mile. I think that is a really, really key sign in this having a good shot at coming over. Also, there is more text in this than your typical run-arounder, your Minecraft Don't Starve, whatever. There's definitely more text. There's a story going on here, so there's a lot more dialogue to translate. But there isn't a lot. Like, if you compare it to, like, a traditional JRPG, I imagine the amount of text to translate isn't that much. So I don't know for sure. There still is a lot of text here. But I also think that there isn't as much that you need to translate over. It doesn't seem like it. But I think specifically this being on PS4 is going to help its chances a lot at coming over. So I think it will. Will it come over quickly? I don't know. I mean, Dragon Quest Heroes, I believe, came out around this time last year in Japan. And it actually ended up being like October-ish. I think early October when it came out in the US. So if I could see this being a similar scenario where this comes out in the U.S. maybe later this year, but I'm not for sure. We don't no one really knows for sure. It's a matter of waiting and to see how this all turns out. But I think there's a good chance it will, and I'll probably pick it up when it does, so I can actually understand the story. But anyways, that is Dragon Quest Builders. Here's a good look at the world, or a decent look at what we're looking at. It is available on PS4 and Vita. In Japan right now. If you're interested in importing it, probably the easiest way is to go make a Japanese PSN account. I'll have a link in the show notes to how to do that. And then I just bought a Japanese PSN card via PlayAsia, and I know there are other websites that do that as well. And that's probably the easiest way to do it. If you're kind of interested in jumping in and not too concerned about the language barrier, that would probably be the easiest way to do it. You can physically import it if you want, but that's going digital was much less of a hassle for me. If not, and if you are waiting, I'm waiting there with you too. I got my fingers crossed, hoping for the best. I think we've got a good chance, but only time will tell. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think. If you're playing this game, let me know what you think of the game. I'm personally loving it. I've heard some almost entirely positive impressions actually, which is pretty rare it seems like these days. Which is great. So anyways, that is Dragon Quest Builders, out now in Japan, hopefully in the US sometime in the future, fingers crossed. But until then, I will see you next time. If you like this or any of our other YouTube videos, subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to support what we do in general, be sure to hop on over to patreon.com/PSNstores. Your patronage helps keep our podcast 100% ad-free. Thanks for watching.